So we've come down into lying on our backs onto your mat. Make sure that you have either a folded towel or a small cushion tucked in behind the back of your head and neck so you can keep your neck nice and long. First of all, we're thinking of our Pilates rest position. So, nodding your chin to lengthen up through the crown of the head, letting the collarbone open wide. Feet start together, knees folded, feet flat. Then, as we did in standing, turn toes out, bring the heels in line and bring the thighs in line with your feet. Rest your hands onto those bones either sides of your pelvis and go into our small pelvic tilt again. It may feel a little stronger now that we're in lying as you feel a little bit more pressure behind the base of the spine as we curl and curve under and release. Again, think of those lights on the front of the pelvis moving as we curl round and release. And we come to stop with them pointing directly up towards the ceiling. Then we draw the tummy button through to the spine to make sure that we secure that position, thinking of keeping a spirit level or a drinks tray still across the lower tummy, across those points at the pelvis. We're going to start with our hip twist level 1. So, from this position, as you breathe out, let one knee go out to the side as far as you can, keeping control at the pelvis and keeping the stationary legs still. Then we come back to the centre. We alternate, so over to the opposite side, let the knee go out and back to the centre. Keeping that going, alternating side to side with control, making sure that the movement is purely from the hip there, that there isn't any movement at the pelvis, and the stationary leg stays still. Imagine a flag through the top of that knee up towards the ceiling, and we're keeping that still even as the weight of the opposite leg moves away from that midline. Keep it slow and steady so that you can keep control, and we keep pausing in that parallel position so that we can make sure that our centre remains engaged. Once you've repeated around 5 times each side, come to rest. Again, this might be a point where you want to pause the video and repeat some more so that you get some more practice in. Then, building from here, we're going to go into our one leg stretch, level 1. So as we breathe out, straightening that right leg, slide the foot away, push the heel towards the wall, and then fold that knee, sliding your foot back into that start position. And again, we alternate, sliding the left leg away, push the heel towards the wall, and then we fold that knee, sliding that foot back in. We're keeping the pelvis still and stable, and we're drawing a straight line, the same straight line on the way out and on the way back in. Ribs stay soft, neck and shoulders stay nice and relaxed. Working again across the centre, but also increasing that work into the muscles through the top of the leg as the leg lengthens away. And as we slide the foot back in, we'll feel that we start to engage into the back of the leg and into those glutes, into those buttock muscles as we fold the knee. So particularly if you slide the heel back in, we will get that little bit more work along that posterior chain, along the back of the leg there. Now, we can build up from here if this feels okay by adding in a small straight leg raise. So once the leg is lengthened away, the knee's straight, hover that leg just a small distance from the mat. Let the leg come to rest down and fold that knee, sliding the foot back in. Over to the opposite, continuing to alternate, little hover and lower and fold that knee to come back in. Only adding that in if we feel quite comfortable, and you'll feel that it challenges the quads at the front of the legs a little bit more, but also into your centre. Again, come to rest when you've completed 5 or so each side, but increase that number as you feel you want that extra challenge. Continuing on, working around our hips, then we're going into our scissors exercise. So, scissors level 1, as we breathe out, we scoot that right hip and knee to 90, pause, and place that foot back down. Over to the opposite, hip and knee to 90, place that foot back down. And it's a walking action, thinking of lifting the leg, coming to stop with the knee directly above the hip. Keeping the spine level, so even as you lift the leg, we don't flatten the lower back down, and as you lower the leg, we don't start to arch forwards. Now we can use this position to again increase our rotation control. So if you felt quite comfortable with your hip twist exercise, with the knee going out to the side, we can use our single tabletop position to increase that challenge. If this level felt like enough, repeat again another 5 on each side with the feet down. If we can though, we'll use that single tabletop position, let the knee go out to the side, still foot in line with the knee, back to the centre, place the foot back down, over to the opposite, hip and knee to 90, let that hip go out to the side, back to the centre, and place that foot back down. Again, working up to that 5 each side if you can. There shouldn't be any discomfort around the groin or into the lower back. So if you did start to notice that, come back to that first level where you've got the feet rested and we're working our rotation control with that little bit more stability. Once we've repeated that second section of rotation control, we continue on through the levels of scissors, if we can, to increase that challenge into our lower tummy. So, again, our level 1 scissors is this lift and lower. And you can stay here or come back to this level at any point if needed. Option 2 though, we start to increase this challenge further. So we draw one hip and knee to 90, think of tightening those springs that run between your ribs and pelvis, and peel the second leg up. So we come into that double tabletop position with the hips and knees stacked there. We pause for a moment and then lower and lower. So we're not staying up for too long. Repeat, alternating with the leg that leads. So leading with the opposite leg, hip and knees to 90, soften the ribs down and pull the second leg up to meet it. Pause and lower and lower. And again, alternate with the lead leg. Hip and knee to 90, tighten those springs, bring that second leg up, pause, and lower, keeping that centre still and stable, and you'll feel an increased amount of work into those lower tummy muscles as you come into that double position. Now if this feels okay, we can add in those dips, those toe taps. So from this double tabletop position, we lower from the hip, still a right angle at the knee, dipping the toe down to the floor as if you're dipping that toe into water and back to 90. And we alternate that side to side, feeling the lower tummy working hard. Again, up to a maximum of 5 each side. If you need to stop before that, you do, coming down to rest. But even if it feels okay, once you've completed 10, pause, only for a moment, doesn't need to be for too long, and then come back into that exercise again, and you can repeat. And again, this might be a point that you want to pause the video so that you could repeat an extra set. Again, increasing that challenge across the centre. We could also, to increase the challenge, instead of dipping the toes, flex the foot and dip the heels. So now we've got that extra little bit of loading, and you'll feel again that extra challenge into the lower tummy. Once you've completed those, we bring the legs back down to rest, and then to open the hips, straighten one leg out, hug the opposite knee in towards your chest, feel that leg that's lengthened away releasing, imagine the heels sinking down into the floor as we hug the opposite knee close, and then we'll change over so that we know we've opened over the groin after doing that work in that right angle tabletop position. You'll be glad to know the hips get a little bit of a breather now. We'll go into some shoulder work. So we're doing our double leg stretch arms. Float those hands up towards the ceiling, palms facing in. Your chin stays nodded down. And as we breathe out, the arms float overhead. And as we breathe in, we circle the hands round to come back to the centre. Now as the arms go away, we're just going as far as we can with control. So as the arms go out, don't allow those ribs to lift or to flare. And we're keeping that movement so that your hands remain within your peripheral vision there. To progress from here, we can bring back in our one leg stretch to make this our double leg stretch level 2. So if you pause with the shoulders at 90, as we next breathe out, we'll straighten that leg as the arms go out, and then fold the knee, scooping the hands round to come back to the centre. Over to the opposite, lengthening the legs away as the arms go out, scooping your hands round as you come back to the centre. Feeling, as we did with the scissor exercise there, that we're really challenging those springs that run between your ribs and pelvis. Again, maybe work up to that 10, pause to do some more if you'd like to, and then once you've completed that, let those arms come down to rest.